To every college president, I say remove the encampments immediately, vanquish the radicals, and take back our campuses for all of the normal students. I say, where did these people come from? And they do come from other countries, and they are paid. The police came in exactly 2 hours. Everything was over. It was a beautiful thing to watch. New York's finest. You saw them go up in ladders to break in the windows and getting in, and they went in, they knocked it out, and they were incredible. I have come here today from New York City, where I'm being forced to sit for days on end in a kangaroo courtroom with a corrupt and conflicted judge enduring a Biden sideshow trial at the hands of a Marxist district attorney. But here's the good news. It's driven the poll numbers higher than we've ever had before, because people get it. It's a scam, and they get it.
And that was former President Trump back on the campaign trail in Wisconsin and Michigan yesterday. He'll be back in a New York City courtroom today for more of his so-called hush money trial. Judge Juan Merchan recently ruled Trump violated his gag order, fining him $9,000, promising jail time if he breaks the gag order again. Joining me now is Republican National Committee co-chair Lara Trump. Lara, great to see you. Thanks very much for being here this morning.
Thank you, Maria. Great to be with you.
I want to start with these protests, Lara. Cops breaking up and arresting the anti-Israel encampment on the UCLA campus this morning. We just heard President Trump praise the police while speaking about this in Wisconsin. What are your thoughts and reactions as we all watch this unfold on campuses across the country?
Well, what you heard there from Donald Trump was leadership. What you heard there from Donald Trump was that there have to be consequences when you have bad actions like this. Whenever you're preventing people from attending class, when you're threatening students, when you're threatening Americans, when there's anti-Semitism spewing out of our colleges and universities, you need leadership, Maria. We have a lack of leadership at the top with Joe Biden, who has failed to address this in the way he should as president of the United States. People are yearning for someone to come in and lead this country. That's what you heard from Donald Trump right there. As to what we saw last night, around all these college campuses, it's about time. But we didn't need to wait this long. This is the sort of thing that has turned criminals into running streets around the country. They know that the consequences are so few and far between. There is no fear for them to commit crimes, to do things that step over a line of our societal norms. And so thank goodness we have Donald Trump there at least praising what has happened and calling out what we should have seen happen a long time ago.
Yeah, we're still waiting to hear from President Biden about this. We haven't heard a word about this from President Biden in at least 10 days as all of this takes place across our country. But I want to get to your business at the RNC, running the RNC. Both you and RNC Chairman Michael Whatley have said one of your top priorities is ensuring a transparent election. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton joined me here yesterday, and he said that illegal migrants could actually end up voting in November. Watch this.
People coming across the border on planes from all of these countries like Haiti and Venezuela, 30,000 a month, and they're placing them in the right states like Florida, Texas, and other Republican states. I am convinced now that these people are not just going to vote in the future. They're going to try to give them Social Security numbers now and get them to vote in the right states so that they can assure victory. There are 47 states right now that don't stop non-citizens from voting. There's no proof.
So, Lara, the AG there is saying that when people come over the border or if they're being flown in by Joe Biden and company, they're being given voting forms and they're being given Social Security numbers. What are you doing at the RNC to ensure a transparent election, Lara?
Well, I mean, let's talk about the fact that what we just heard there is actually happening in America. That, I mean, you have Joe Biden, as you just pointed out, flying people illegally into this country. Why, Maria, would you want people who are not American citizens to have any ability to vote? Why would you want to get them in here so quickly? Why would you want no voter ID in states across this country? There's only one answer to this question. It's because you know you can't actually actually win an election on the Democrat side of the aisle. They have nothing to show for it. So this is, as you pointed out, our #1 focus at the RNC. We are focused more on election integrity than anything else, because nothing else ultimately matters. If we do not have secure and transparent elections, we are not the same country we always thought we were. We have 81 lawsuits out right now in 24 states around this country. We are focusing on specific issues like this to ensure that only American citizens are voting in these elections. We just won a big lawsuit in Pennsylvania about 2 weeks ago. The Democrats, in an effort, of course, to make it easier to cheat, wanted to take dating off of mail-in balloting. We sued them, we won, and now we can apply that precedent across the country. Every single day, we have an entire team at the RNC focused solely on this issue. And whether it's in Florida, Texas, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, we are watching every single thing. Not to mention, we want 100,000 people as our election integrity team as we head into this election season. That's what Chairman Michael Whatley and I have talked about from the RNC. ProtectTheVote.com. If anyone wants to come volunteer, if you want to be a poll watcher, a poll worker who can be trained to actually work in these polling locations, come join us, because, Maria, we can leave nothing to chance. We have to face this very differently than we ever have before, because we know what the other side is capable of doing.
Well, one of the issues last time around was the fact that some states closed down and said, oh, we'll finish counting tomorrow. Do you have a vision in terms of how this election in November is going to play out? Is this going to be election day or election week or what?
Well, unfortunately, right now we know we have an election season. Early voting starts in September for most states. And so it's not just one single day of voting, which I know is ideal. And we can get back to a day where we have one day, we have paper ballots and we have voter ID everywhere. But we need to get through this election and we need to play the hand that we are dealt. And so right now we do have a bit of an election season. But what you're talking about is exactly why we plan on having attorneys in all of these major polling locations across the country. Because, Maria, we can't wait to litigate something weeks after it has happened. We need to strike at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
We want people there on the ready to hit things and hit the ground running when they happen, so that we are never seeing 2020 happen ever again.
Well, we know that President Trump is basically spending all his time in a courtroom. How is the president's New York trial impacting the campaign? Do you feel he's got enough time to meet with the donors that you're trying to attract? Is he able to spend time with campaign staff? How are you balancing that? Because he's all day in a courtroom.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. And obviously this is by design. No one is disillusioned by any of this. We know exactly what this is. The goal, of course, is to keep Donald Trump trapped in a courtroom in Manhattan and unable to get out on the campaign trail. Yeah, you saw yesterday he made 2 campaign stops, Wisconsin and Michigan. You just talked about it at the top of this interview. That's how he's going to have to do this. And he's also going to have to do these stops at places that Joe Biden in his wildest dreams could never do, like the bodega visit in Harlem, where the Democrats never assumed a guy like Donald Trump could go and get anyone, let alone hundreds of people there cheering for him, like he did last week with the union workers, these construction workers, at 6:30 in the morning when Joe Biden was still asleep. Donald Trump was out there connecting with the people of this country. What they're missing right now on the Democrat side is that while they think that they're hurting Donald Trump, everyone sees this for what it is. We are raising around $1 million a day every day he's in that courtroom. We are capitalizing on the days he's out of court, and he is working to make sure that we are looking at states that the Democrats never thought we could dream of, like New York, like New Jersey. Wait for more of this, Maria, because I think it drives him crazy on the other side, and Donald Trump is masterful at it.
All right. And the campaign and legal battles, how is it affecting the family?
Well, I mean, sadly, Maria, none of us are surprised by any of this. We've sort of gotten used to this stuff. And, you know, I think it's incredible to see the stamina and strength of my father-in-law. This is a man who I believe was made for such a time as this. I don't think anyone else could withstand this. We're here by his side every step of the way. My husband, Eric, has been in court with him. And we're doing everything we can to support him, support this campaign, and ensure victory in November.
All right, Lara, we'll be watching your work for sure. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Thank you.
All right, Lara Trump joining us today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.